Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this does not work without you guys. Let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. Wake up. Do I have the right remote? Wake up. There we go. And Happy New Year's Eve. I hope everybody, wherever you go, whatever you may be doing, please be safe out there because there's a lot of people out there that don't give a F, and I want to make sure everybody gets home safe and has a happy new year. And here it is, New Year's Eve, day number two of the Dallas Cowboy fans being held hostage by Jerry Jones. Well, yesterday, it was a whirlwind, to say the least, for the Dallas Cowboys. We heard that Jason Garrett was going to be meeting with the players and then meeting with Jerry Jones for a meeting and stuff that was going to take place about 12 o'clock. And then about 1 o'clock, he would see the Joneses and he was expected to be fired. Then it ended up being, we heard that Mike Leslie said that everybody was going to be fired as far as the coaching staff, clean sweep. Then we got reports, of course, that that was the case, and he hadn't even met with the Joneses yet. He ended up meeting with the Joneses late yesterday into late in the evening, and we were told that he had been doing exit interviews with players, and so he didn't get finished with that. Um, right now, the Redskins have hired Ron Rivera. Um, I don't know if you feel he's a great candidate or not, but he did build a great defense at Carolina and did get them to a Super Bowl in the same time that Jason Garrett was head coach of the Cowboys. Um, the Giants plan on interviewing Chris Richard as well as this weekend interviewing Mike McCarthy. I've heard some rumors about Matt Rule in with the Browns being looked at. I've heard Brian Leftwich even in Jacksonville. So other teams are out there beginning to do their searching. They're due diligent. They're talking to people and things like that. While the Cowboys can't seem to let go of Jason Garrett, I have no idea what all this means. Does this mean that you're going to keep Jason Garrett and put him in a front office capacity? Because I'm trying to understand if this is just his opportunity to say goodbye to each individual player or actually get a little more information for working in the office. I don't know. With Jerry Jones, you just don't know. And this is getting to be the point of being like Al Davis, like, where you scratch your head and wonder, the fuck? All we can do is sit around and wait. Now, we've heard that today's appearances on 105 The Fan by Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones have been canceled, and that after the players' interviews, that um, he'll meet with the Joneses for a second time. So I can't tell you. Excuse me, I'm catching cold. I can't tell you at all what this means. We still believe that Jason Garrett is out as head coach. Beyond that, I couldn't give you a clue. And the only thing I can think of is that the Joneses didn't want to be like everybody else that just kind of threw their coach out like garbage. I think that they're doing this out of respect and love and admiration for Jason Garrett. So that's the only thing I can think of, and we'll have to wait and see if something happens today. One thing Jason Garrett did say was, well, this will all be sorted out in 24 to 48 hours. I don't know that they'll be conducting any business on New Year's Day, so it may end up being technically there is no hurry for the Cowboys if they have their mind set on somebody who's still coaching. Um, but his contract actually isn't up until January 14th. And knowing Jerry Jones, he may just let this go on for 2 more weeks. Yeah. In some other news, I've talked about Tyrone Crawford, his salary number, which is about $10 million. Um, in which case, you start looking as we have 26 free agents, where you're going to get your biggest bang for the buck, and which guys that you deem necessary versus unnecessary. And you look at $10 million for Tyrone Crawford, who is getting along in the tooth, who just had hip surgery on both hips. And that was one of those ones I said if the Cowboys are looking for cap relief right there, if you get rid of him, that's $9.8 million more you have in your cap. Well, he says he's open to restructuring his deal. Now, make no mistake, here's the thing. There's a lot of misconception between restructuring and giving money back. They're two totally different things. A lot of times you heard, oh my God, Tony Romo, he's a team player. He restructured his deal so the team had more money. Understand, it's great that you restructured and got cap relief, but what this actually is when you restructure a deal, is you're changing money that wasn't guaranteed into guaranteed money, and you're stretching out to the life of the contract. You follow me? You're not getting a pay cut. You're not taking a pay cut. What you're doing is okay, I've got $20 million guaranteed on my $50 million contract. What we'll do is we'll say that, the salary for next year, that $9 million, we'll make that guaranteed money, and we can stretch it out to the life of the contract. So if you've got 3 more years on the contract, that means it only costs you $3 million a year instead of $10 million. But that leaves you on the hook for those additional years. That is more money that you're guaranteed. The player gets that check, he gets that money, he's in great shape. It gives you cap relief right now, but it's kicking that money down the road. And therein lies the problem for the Dallas Cowboys in the past. In the past, because they end up signing Miles Austin to a contract after one great year. Guys like Terrence Newman, Marion Barber, Jay Ratcliffe, all of these guys, we had all these contracts that were really big at the time, and you didn't get value for them, that you ended up having to restructure other deals to get money. We restructured DeMarcus Lawrence. We restructured Jason Witten. We restructured Tony Romo to get cap relief, kicking the money down the road. And when it was time for Tony Romo no longer to play, you still had all that money that became dead money that hampered you. The Cowboys got away from doing that. They didn't restructure any deals last year to pay anybody, which is unusual for where the Cowboys had been just 3 years ago. That's how come we have a surplus this year going into next year, which is added to the kitty. So we ended up taking a pay cut with Sean Lee. That's a different story. Sean Lee actually reduced his salary, took money off the table. Tyrone Crawford's talking about restructuring. Now, maybe it ends up being that he takes money off the table like Doug Free, but we just want to make sure we have some clarity there. Because with 26 free agents, there's some ones that you're definitely going to want to keep and some ones that you're going to let go, but you got to understand that if you let them go, you have to replace them. And we don't want to get into a situation where we're getting journeymen to replace guys that were productive. I believe 11 of the guys were starters that are free agents, and that's a lot. And all those guys are looking for their piece of the pie. After D-Law got his, after Jalen Smith got his, after Zeke Elliott got his, why does it be that I shouldn't get mine? Fortunately, it's a dog-eat-dog world. So we'll be on the lookout today for any more news on what's going on in Dallas with Jason Garrett and his numbers. Shout out to everybody who came in the live stream last night and everybody who's becoming channel members. I need to do some more posts. I was actually, people comment to me all the time, you're not a real reporter, not a real sports reporter. You don't do this and you don't do that and stuff. And it's like, yeah, well, this is true. If I was a real sports reporter, I'd be working for a network or newspaper or things like that. And I would actually have a staff that would help me to do my job and do research for it. This is YouTube, and I'm a guy who loves the Dallas Cowboys. that ends up giving you the best news that I can while trying to provide for my family with my day job. So we do the best we can. I know we're not perfect. I know I make a lot of mistakes and things like that, but I appreciate all the support from everybody out there that helps make this channel what it is. And shout out to the over 1,000 people that were on our live stream last night. That literally blew me away. Thank you for all the love. All right, guys, be safe out there and make sure you guys have a happy new year.